Welcome to day 16 of the 31 days of I Am Transformation. I am here back into the rain, back into the the moisture of the Midwest. So I decided to sit out here in the rain and to allow for the elementals to come and join in these I am statements today. So welcome from wherever you are. If you'd like to put, where are you watching this from? I know I'm always changing locations, so it's always fun to see where you are as well. So we're gonna dive in today to the soul chakra. So there is a lot happening with the soul chakra. This is not a hello, Leandra. So this is not something that this is not a chakra that most people have done any work with or have worked very much with. If you've accessed the akashic records or had an akashic records reading, if you have no idea what that is, I invite you to join in the Chakra Box. We do a full 4 weeks with workbooks and videos and support. If you want to have weekly sessions or a monthly session, I will actually read your akashic records for you, allowing for you to get a personal experience. If you would just like your akashic records read, this is really going back into your past lives. I highly recommend not working with your soul chakra until you have healed or at least done the first 7 chakras of really healing your current lifetime. This is always something people want to go into their past lives. They want to see how it's affected them. But until you actually learn how your current life is, the patterns and the healing aspects of it, it can get really jumbled up really fast. And I've done the mistake of actually having or read people's past lives without fully having them really dealt with the experience of this lifetime, and it kind of just throws them off on a whirlwind, and they end up getting lost for a little bit of time before they come back. And yes, that could be a part of their journey, but I know now that it's really vital. The I am statements are really powerful as just a subconscious way of integrating, but please don't just jump into the akashic records in your past lives until you start from the root and go all the way through the crown chakra in really a deep diving sense of a way. All right, there's my little 2 cents before we jump in to the I am statements for today. Okay, so the soul chakra, again, this is all about our past lives. This is all about our past experiences, but the soul chakra does not actually hold on to any of the traumas. I want you to imagine the soul chakra is all of you, this wholeness. It is the very like ball of your being, and this is the part of you that has all the memories from absolutely from when you began as the alpha and omega, as time immortal. So I want us to kind of get into a different kind of a programming here when we're talking about the soul, and it not being broken up into like these little bits and pieces. It's not something that, okay, here's the soul chakra, here's one of my soul pieces, here's another of my soul pieces. I don't want us to take the soul chakra and break it up into pieces, because that's not what our soul is. Our soul encompasses all of us. And good morning, Karen. Thanks for being here. Encompasses all of us, and it is all of us. And so our soul is really that space that holds the collective us, our little piece of us, as well as the bigger picture of us as well. Yay, hello, welcome. All right, day 16 of the 31 days of I Am Transformation. Yay, all right. We've got all the elementals. We've got the wind, we've got, rain, we've got some internet stuff. We're like, yes, we're in it now. This is our soul chakra. This is the definite, I think that is like this being our soul chakra is being in the observation mode. That is like the best way to kind of take in what the soul chakra is. And I'm excited because I want to have a little bit more conversation about maybe some of these past lives and how they've affected us and things like that. So I'm pretty excited to be on day 16. I absolutely love the soul chakra. The soul chakra was not something that it's not like there was a lot of research out there about what it was, and there's stuff out there about the akashic records, but when the magical mother came through and said there's going to be something called the soul chakra, and I was like, that's new. Thanks magical mother, for throwing that one out there. Let's just create something brand new. 4 weeks worth. All right, let's see what we can do here. And it's really fun because there's this aspect of people are like, well, I've never heard of the 13 chakras. I'm like, no, I don't think that's how it's supposed. It's coming through now. This new dawning, this new age of Aquarius, this new stepping into all of ourselves. And we're not separated from our guides or our angels. We're not separated from our soul. We're not separated from the divine masculine anymore. We're not separated from the divine feminine anymore. We're not separated from even the Merkaba. We are all of those things. And so as healers, it's really important to understand that once we step up and out of the crown chakra, we can be one with the earth star chakra. And now we really get to be the observer in our soul chakra. And this is really exciting because there's a dynamic of really being that observer. When you're looking or seeing or reading your akashic records, hey Sandy, there is you're not meant to go into the akashic records full of like excitement and anticipation and what am I going to find and what's in there for me, you know, that kind of, that you will not see anything in your akashic records if that's like the emotionality behind it. What will happen is you'll probably see something and go, oh my gosh, I wasn't ready for that, I don't know, and then like your monkey mind starts going. So being in the soul chakra is all about being the observer. What's going on around me and what's happening in my field? What traumas have come from my past? And again, I stated in take 1 of this, that if you have not done the root through crown in a very, in the magical mothering method and done the reprogramming, done the healing, done the integration, I highly, highly suggest doing these I am statements is totally fine. Do not start looking up Akashic records and trying to dive into that until you've really created a solid new foundation for this current lifetime. Do not go playing and meddling in your past lives when you don't have a solid foundation for this one. If your relationships are a mess, if you're high in anxiety, if you're kind of going crazy, if you're very much in the process right now, you do not need to dive into your Akashic records. If you'd like to join in the Chakra Box so you can really create a new foundation from root to crown, and then you can start playing with that and you can get a personal one from me or you can dive in it with yourself. Awesome. But don't skip those steps, please. I have accidentally done this for people where their past lives came in through a session and they had not gone through all of the reprogramming, and they actually kind of just like, whoo, on a totally veered off. And yes, that could be a part of their journey. I could have been doing exactly what I was meant to do, but my whole, I feel that my whole space in being here is to not create detours for people, but to make it as giving people the opportunity to say, here, I've experienced this, let me help you on this little pathway, not to throw you off the pathway and down rabbit holes and things like that. So that's just a little bit of that one. So the I am statements, these came through. I'm really loving just like automatic writing these I am statements every morning because I'm just connecting, and then I'm like, what are the I am statements for the day? This is going to be fun. And so I'm going to actually read most of them because they came through and it was really fun. If you'd like to see all of them written out, they're all in the Mighty Network's magical-mothering.mn.co. I do have that link posted everywhere. So join the group already, and that way you can see all this stuff. All right, so I am a divine being that has no ending and no beginning. I am a divine being that has no ending and no beginning.
I am a divine being that has no beginning and no
You can
ending.
tell I did not write these, because obviously that just changed my whole vibrational level just saying that. All right. So, right? We are the Alpha and the Omega. We cannot say that we are a divine being. We cannot say that I am a part of the divine and then have a beginning and an end, right? We cannot say the I am that I am and be this Christ consciousness. We are not meant to think that the Christ consciousness is outside of us, or that somebody is going to do that or pay the price for us. We have to stop being the sinners and step into the Christ consciousness. This is something that, fundamentally has been very a control mechanism. You must obey, and yet when you sin, it's okay, your debts have already been paid for you. No, it's time to rise up into a Christ consciousness so that you're not repeating the sins of the fathers, so to say. So not to get super into that aspect, but I think it's all the same. The woo-woo is the woo-woo, whether you belong to a church, whether you are a pagan, whether you are an atheist, the woo-woo is the woo-woo. And I don't care what label you give it, it's all one and the same. It's all a pathway. So, and then there's like that, and then there's like that woo-woo-ness where you're just like, oh, you are the divine little babies. I'm looking at Karen's, you're like, what are you talking about? I'm looking at Karen's little baby right now. And that's like, yes, oh my goodness. So we have beginning and no end. This has been a lie or a misconception or an this has been something that has been suggested to us for lifetimes, for at least 10,000 years of our lifetimes. And it's just, we have no beginning and we have no end. So allowing for that to come forward. The next one, I am made up of lifetimes of experiences, yet I am not bound to those experiences. Doesn't that feel like almost liberating? I'm made up of lifetimes of experiences, yet I am not bound to those experiences. I am free to be my whole self, including all of my past.
I'm free to be my whole self, including all of my past.
I am able to learn the valuable lessons of my past lifetimes.
I am able to learn the valuable
so that I can have new experiences in this lifetime.
So that I can have new experiences in this lifetime.
I am whole in my soul.
I am whole in my soul.
I am eager. I love that. I am eager to integrate all of my past lives so that I can fully live my soul's calling.
I am eager to integrate all my past lives so I can live my soul's calling.
I am able to recognize patterns so that I can create new lessons.
I am able to recognize patterns so I can create new lessons.
I've been hanging out a lot on TikTok, and I keep seeing a lot of people's anxiety patterns or fear patterns or programmings or blame patterns. So there's a lot of new thoughts and awakening happening. And so a lot of times people are going, oh, that makes so sense. My parents were this. That's why I'm this way. And they made me this way. and they're to blame. Now I have a label that I can call them, and my husband is that, and my partners are that, and I keep attracting friends with that label. And labels are fine to create an understanding and awareness and to see a parameter, and then let that shit go and start taking responsibility for your own healing. You want to stop attracting narcissists in your life? Then stop being a victim. Stop labeling yourself as that. And when we allow for ourselves to give up those labels and start going into recognizing patterns and lessons and experiences versus in saying you, great, have a label. Your parents were a narcissist. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to take that label and that information and transform and transmute yourself so you do not keep getting affected? Because I don't care if you're married to a narcissist. I really don't. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay in the relationship, or are you going to grow so that narcissistic tendencies don't affect you anymore and you can grow and learn from them? So I'm not saying that no, abuse is not okay. If you're in an abusive relationship, reach out. Absolutely. If you're being physically, mentally, emotionally, and not able to have a foundation, reach out.
You
Let's
see that
change
stuff,
that.
honey?
So
All their stuff?
don't get stuck in
Isn't that
these.
dope?
I'm not saying throw the labels out and then stay in these behaviors. Absolutely not, because that's what got you here in the first place. It's time to see your wholeness from a place of wholeness. All right. This will be the last one. I am no longer defined by my traumas. Past or this lifetime experiences, as I can see them through the lens of the observer.
As I can see them through the lens of the observer.
Our stories are sometimes detrimental to our growth practice. And so when we define ourselves with and through our traumas, it can be something that is actually not for our best. But when we take those and go, wow, these are all experiences that I've had, they've made me who I am. Now what am I going to do with those? Am I going to help others? Am I going to share? Am I going to create? Am I going to elaborate? Am I going to be? How am I going to use all of these experiences to create space for not just myself, but for the world? Because we're all here to shine that unique light. So, soul chakra. I think this is a good summary for those on Facebook. And so again, if you're interested in or you're curious about learning more about your past lives, I would really love for you to join the Chakra Box. I would love for you to create a new foundation in your life. These I am statements are really helpful to just go to. But if there's not the reprogramming there and the healing and all of the other aspects for the body to actually believe these I am statements, you're just going to be saying words, because words without emotion and without actually believing them do not create change, which is why affirmations, people go, oh, I did affirmations for a year and they didn't work. Well, yeah, because your programming was the same. You're literally just saying nonsense that your brain's like, nah, I don't believe that. No, that's not true. No, I've never experienced that. Nope, can't do it. Your brain is programmed. So you got to get new pathways, which is what I put into all of the videos, which is called neuro-linguistic programming, which is creating new neural pathways in the brain so that when you say these affirmations, your brain and your body go, okay, yeah, let's jive with that one. That feels good. And it actually resonates at a new level, and you can actually create new experiences. So if you're going, I don't understand how that works, just a tidbit of how that works. So thanks for being here today. I'm going to close up the Facebook and leave the Zoom on if there's any conversations that are had over there. If you want to be a part of these Zoom sessions, I welcome you to join the Mighty Networks. The links are in there, and you can have fun with us in these lives. So see you later, Facebook. See you tomorrow. and have a good one. Anything in the soul chakra that come up for you today?
For me, just go ahead, Lindsay.
No, go you first.
Okay. Well, I think for me it was like a realization, kind of like, because I've never actually been able to access my akashic records or my past lives at all.
Never tried.
I've tried. And I think it has to do with when I tried, like what Stephanie said, like where like I was still in process. I feel like I'm actually coming out of several years of being in process, like since I had my first child, probably about 6 years of being in process. I'm just coming out of that. So it's pretty crazy to kind of realize that, like kind of looking back and kind of seeing everything more clearly. It was good work that was being done, but it was really, really actually quite hard. Stephanie was there for like 4 or 5 of those years. I was working with Stephanie. So,
And
yeah.
And Karen, you were really creating your own experiential way to share the process, while I was creating my own experiential way of sharing the process. And, something that I would learn and grow with would help you in your journey and you in mine. So, it's a powerful thing. I realized that I started accessing my akashic records almost within the first year of doing the work. But again, I think it was the magical mother who came through and was showing me these lifetimes for this 13, so that I would have that access. So
right,
it's an interesting thing, and I think everybody at some point can access their own akashic records. Yet I have seen that there are akashic records that are closed. Like some people cannot access other people's akashic records for them. So it's an interesting thing. There is this aspect that some people do just see their books, because it's kind of like a library is how it's come. Like I've seen it.
I've been to the library. But I've been unable to read it.
Yeah.
Like the pages will just be blank when I go in.
So
or when I've gone in the past. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have never seen it in a book. It's always like once I step into a book, it's like a movie theater almost. And I'm observing it that way. And then I'll step into the movie screen and experientially feel it in my body, it re-happening. So
that's intense.
Last year I actually lived out 7 of my deaths in a single bath session. Yeah, that was that was a lot.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So, but it's an interesting thing when you start doing that, how you're like, wow, so I've lived this lesson, which instead of seeing them as lifetimes, I've lived this lesson so many times. I'm ready to learn it. I'm ready to integrate it.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if I just haven't been ready, or if my intentions were wrong. You know what I mean? Like you said, like I was like, ooh, what am I gonna find out for me? You know what I mean? If my intention going in was like not the correct intention on top of emotional process, I think I can assume correctly there was probably a lot of crazy stuff that happened, and maybe like my body isn't ready to experience, like, or doesn't need to. Like I've kind of come to this point. I'm like, maybe I don't need to see it, or maybe I don't need to know. Like I only know. I spoke with a medium, and she said one of my lives was as a nun, and I'm like, well, that doesn't surprise me, because that there's like pieces of me that sounds really appealing to. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, ooh, that sounds great. Like just freaking go to a convent and just silence and devotion.
So I can be in my place.
Yeah, girl. Yeah. It's but then I keep getting reminded, it's like you've lived that life. You've lived that life of like devotion, so you don't need to do it again, but that's why it feels attractive to me.
I'll post it, because I in the chakra the Soul Chakra reprogramming video, I did a timeline therapy where we actually went through all of our lifetimes and just gathered up the lessons. So you don't even have to go through and see all the you're just popping through and gathering this like main lesson so that you're like
The necessities.
the necessities, the nitty gritty. That way it's collected and gathered and harvested rather than hi.
Totally.
So Lindsay, do you have anything to share?
I liked the middle statement.
Hmm.
Oh, I was gonna go back and figure it out later, but there was one of the middle ones.
Okay, let me see.
I'm talking. Yeah, I'm here.
One of the middle so integrating, there was one about integrating, recognizing patterns, learning value.
Not being a victim.
Oh, that was my tangent. Okay, good.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Like
That's
I
a really
think
good
about
one.
that too, where it like goes through my head a lot and lately too, getting the, well, what are you gonna do about it? Okay, that's your problem. What are you gonna do about it?
Right. So yeah.
And not just to me, but like out and, well, all right, that's great. Now what?
Yeah, victim is definitely stored in solar plexus. That's our empowerment center. It's where, our confidence lies. So if there's ever this aspect of, well, my parents were this way, I keep attracting men that are this way, my friends are asshole, that's a solar plexus thing, because that's what we're attracting because of that victim state of, well, this is what I've always had. And so once you say, okay, who is that victim? What does she look like? Give her a personality, give her a human figure, personify that victim space. It's really helpful to go, wow, okay, this is what my victim self looks and feels like. And then, either giving her a safe space to be in, maybe that victim, how can you transform the victim? And the victim is really just a Jungian archetype. It's just an archetype. We all have all the archetypes. We all display all the archetypes. If you're really interested in archetypes, there's a book called Sacred Contracts. I've bought the book 4 times and still cannot read it because the woman has a very masculine dominating way that she talks. Like I can't even listen to her audios because I'm so repulsed by them. So
you're talking about Carolyn Miss?
Yes,
Carolyn
yes,
Mice, yeah.
Yes.
I like listening to the books. I can't read her books, but I can listen to them.
Though, right? You can listen to
them.
Yeah.
You're like, oh.
I even bought it again. I was like, man, I really want to, because I love Jung. And Jung is very feminine. Yeah. He's so feminine. Yeah. I'm like, I just need to go straight to the Jungian books.
Right. No in between. No, you don't need any. Yeah. So, that's funny.
So Lindsay, allowing and really recognizing the victimhood that has been created, and being a victim is very acceptable in our society. Just like the masculine qualities of being dominating and survivor mode, being in survival is a very acceptable thing in the Western culture. And those are very masculine. So struggle, being in survival, not actually ever thriving, just getting your basic needs all the time, and anything like that. So allowing for the divine, the feminine aspects is the victim mode. That's the feminine that is acceptable in the Western society is the victim. And then the timekeeper, the rhythm. So more like the rigidness of the timekeeper is a masculine, having to be on time at a certain time all the time is kind of an exaggerated feminine that is allowed in our society. So it's interesting looking at the divine aspects and then looking at the way that they've been exaggerated or really blown out of proportion, but like we allow you to be feminine. We have, we're on the clock time, because it's not father time. Women rule the time. They say when always and throughout all of time, it's been women who have really been the hearth keepers and the tenders.
28-day cycles.
Exactly.
All based on the moon and women. Yep.
So the fact that the moon goes through a cycle back and forth for the same amount of period,
Yep.
around the sun, and the sun doesn't keep any time, it just shines all the
Right.
time. It's Mother Earth and the moon that actually keep
Right.
all
I know. The sun's like, hi, I'm back.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm back.
Yeah. So that is a feminine that we have not actually been able to step into having a rhythm. The church actually took that away from our pagan ancestors. The church really bastardized the feminine aspects of rhythm and gave us time. And so, the Greeks did it too. The Greeks created the sundial to really like time, and they were very
structure.
Yeah. This whole philosophical aspect. So, Lindsay, I think that's a huge awareness of really recognizing and creating awareness that you resonated with that word and going, oh, okay, no, I don't need to do. Let's learn that lesson and move on. Let's learn.
It's been a process.
Yeah.
But then recognizing it in other people and going, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so
I have the ability to see things in others and whatnot.
And that's what makes us a healer, is because we can see it so clearly in others, yet not in ourselves. It comes.
I closed it right in time.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Where's the charger? Okay.
So today, play the observer then. If anything, just play where in your interactions are you feeling like the victim or feeling like the empowered or feeling, so play with this observer energy today. And that's for me too. I'm going to play observer. I sometimes get so caught up in creating and being that I don't go one step further and be the observer.
I guess to go on as you're thinking about it, when we observe people and we recognize these in ourselves or others, and how to not like I want to tell people, like, but you don't want to like tell people,
They often can't hear you anyway. So
you
could tell them, but if that is not and that's really why I give all the videos away for free, have them on YouTube and getting on TikTok, because those who have the ears to hear will hear it. They'll see it, they'll know it. Everybody else will not hear it, and they might even misconstrue it and push you away, which I'm sure has happened, where when you did say something, they went, no, I don't need to hang out with you anymore.
Yeah, they'll completely end the relationship if you call this.
or try to kick you out of something.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I did have a girlfriend, she had posted in some other group about something, and I don't know, the simplest way I could do it was, I think you'll get more answers to your questions. It's a little bit more personalized. Let me invite you to this other person and you take it from there. And that was some chick, it was this week, and I invited him to your big group and like let you do what you do with it. If you really want help, if you really want it, then you're gonna do it. But I'm over. I can't make people do things. I can't make them change what they're thinking. I just doing me.
Can lead a horse to water.
Exactly.
That's it. Can't make him drink it.
all
If
honesty,
you
I
really
used
want to cut
spend-
those ties, it was about, that's what it was. It was like about the cutting of the ties and things like that. And I just felt like this would be a place for her to work through a lot of that.
Yeah.
And you never know.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. So, yeah, I mean, because so we're gonna be going into our human design. So Lindsay, make sure to go to the Jovian archive.
Oh
Jovian
yeah, I
archive.
printed out me and my girlfriend's the next day, like a month ago, but we just never
So-
did anything.
Make sure to upload that into the Magical Mothering Mighty Networks group. That way I can see it all and do all that kind of stuff with it and see it, because again, living in our human design is really interesting in the way that we either respond, right? So there's only two types. Well, there's one type, manifestors, which that's only
Are you
90% of
leaving
the
now?
world.
Are you leaving now?
Manifestors can put into action. They can just say it and it is. The rest of us really either are waiting to respond or responding. But
He's going to the doctor. Delilah's gonna
So-
Aren't there like reflectors too?
mhm, that
There's
is
like reflectors, which is like minuscule. Very few people are
2%,
reflectors.
and reflectors have to live in the appropriate location. So there's
Wow.
literally one
I've never heard of
reflector
this
for
reflector
each
thing.
location. And I mean,
Wow.
1% of the population, 1 or 2% of the population are reflectors. So I've
Wow.
never even met a reflector.
I manifest everything.
So you are probably a manifesting generator.
I manifested that box you sent. I'm not even lying.
That little
Mhm.
bit.
Like big things, little things. I manifested the car. You know, I have boxes. I want to be more, but they were all too heavy. I wanted one with a little handle. And I looked at it and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like seriously? Like everything I want, I get.
That's awesome.
And that's probably a part of your design. So knowing
Yeah.
your design and really living in your design, and your design will open up those other aspects, the relationship aspects, the relationships with partners and kids. So understanding our design takes that victim aspect out of us, because it is what it is. It's in the design. And when you step into that, you're like, oh, I don't have to fight that or push that or try to be that, because I get to find others to complete me, to complete those channels, to complete those lines, to complete those aspects. And so it'd be really interesting. I'm excited to like look at all of our charts together and see who completes who. You know what I mean? See which aspects of, like, I know that Karen probably completes some of my lines because we've been doing this for so long, you know? Lindsay, you probably have lines now that I'm doing this work to literally work with women from all around to complete me and to complete them. So it's a really neat thing to see that we are meant to be in community, in alignment, in integration.
Why did it fart?
So this is really, and
We don't
that is
just farted.
each of our human designs has been
Go check your watch. It farted.
so,
All right, I have to go.
right.
Go. Bye.
you.
Thank you. Love you too.
So yeah.
Did.
So I'm excited to see kind of what you come up with today as the observer and of yourself.
I don't know what to call them, thoughts or like whatever technical, but I had a thought, I don't know, maybe about 2 weeks ago, that I'm putting together the Galactic Galaxy console or whatever it is. I don't know why.
And you may have, I really want to see your chart, because you may have an open headspace, which allows for you to get universal thoughts versus having stable, consistent thought patterns, which is why you probably have so much you want mental clarity, it's hard to come by, things like that, you might have an open headspace, which would make a lot of sense as to why you get just kind of all these downloads all the time and nothing holds. So I want to see your chart to see
Well, and
if,
I don't have to be in a like space. Like I don't meditate for it. I just
No.
go about my life and
Yep.
they
so you most likely have an open headspace. So confirming all of these is really helpful to know, oh, okay, I won't be able to have the same consistent thought pattern, or you know what I mean, or I have an open will space. So my will is it's very difficult to stay consistent in things unless I'm doing them for others, because their will centers drive my will center then, because I'm connected to their willpower energy.
I have a lot of that.
Yeah. So like I personally would never create a 31 days of I am statements for myself with my own willpower.
Right.
I have to do it
But if
with
I'm
others.
counting on you,
Right.
now you are.
Right. So I can, and that's where I realize that I have to be in community, whether that's Facebook community, but Facebook just doesn't feel as safe anymore.
No,
So
yeah.
I had to find a space where we could extract ourselves from that and create new sacred space. Because Facebook was that once. It was.
Mhm.
But it's
But
not
it
anymore.
was hard because I wasn't checking it anymore because I stopped I turned off the note because it'll be like so and so said something on so and so. I'm like, I don't care.
Right. The notifications become ridiculous.
They were there was nothing towards me. There was nothing for me. It's Facebook trying to create drama.
Right.
Like, so and so said something. You like, okay, that's great. I'm glad they commented on their stuff. I'm like,
Yeah.
so no, this is working.
Good. Well, hopefully
I will do that. It's around, or I'll do it again.
and just again, be the observer of yourself, which is different than observing others. It's almost like you're in the back seat, or the front seat, kind of looking at yourself throughout the day, which is an interesting space to be in.
I'll see how that goes.
All right. Well, I'll see you tomorrow then.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.